Hello everybody. Happy almost lunar eclipse, happy almost full moon. Eclipses are kind of a big deal in a subtle way. I don't know if that makes any sense, but eclipses are, you can think of them as like bookmarks in the calendar. Like whenever you see that there's a lunar eclipse, we know that's a marked period of change. It's a marked period of one cycle ending and another beginning. It's something that we can count on. And different astrologers will say different things, but lately I've been hearing a lot from people that the eclipse energy is pretty potent for a couple weeks leading up. And I don't know about you guys, but the past couple weeks for me have just felt like really kind of chaotic or frantic, but at the same time like dense and sticky and heavy. So just kind of look over the past couple weeks and get a sense of like what the theme was, what the feel was, how you're feeling right now. And this particular lunar eclipse is tomorrow, which is Friday. It'll be early in the morning, and it will bring a new cycle of developments related to Scorpio Taurus themes. So over the next 2 years, this is a significant one. This eclipse marks the change. The nodes are changing. So the north node and the south node are not planets, but it's like a mathematical equation that talks about the orbital pathways. The nodes stay in their signs for about 2 years. So this Scorpio Taurus full moon is bringing a shift from the nodes into Scorpio Taurus. So what does that mean? I feel like that's a bunch of mumbo jumbo. It just means over the next 2 years we can expect considerable cyclical transformation of our relationship with money, with tangible goods, with agriculture, with food, shared resources, sense of stability, comfort. All of these are kind of Taurus themes. And then the Scorpio themes are more like truth, intimacy, sexuality, vulnerability, pleasure, comfort. So the blending of those themes, our relationship to those particular things is probably going to face some type of shift or some type of change over the next 2 years. The moon has a really beautiful relationship with Pluto, which brings a sense of renewal. It's kind of like a page turning or a starting over, a clean slate, something like that, where like all of the old things that we held onto so tightly are just like, they're not even there. We don't even miss them because they're just gone. They're not even there. With any full moon, powerful emotions probably bubble up. With this particular one, we may come to the realization that our feelings about something have changed really drastically. And we must honor our truth. That's the choice. We don't just try to keep everyone comfortable. We don't just try to cling to what we know, because number one, that gets tiring. Number two, it's not healthy. And number three, if we're staying in one place, we can't be growing, we can't be evolving, we can't be learning and shifting. And it's unnatural when we don't do those things. I think that makes a lot of people sick when they're unwilling to change or unwilling to grow. Because energy needs to move. Everything else in nature goes through cycles, shifts and changes, and we do too, and that's inescapable. What was working once is no longer working anymore. And this full moon supports the necessitated process of emotional transformation and release. So it's just a big time. Don't let that scare you. I know that like when we talk about change, it's just scary because our brains are wired to seek familiarity. It like keeps us safe. It is a useful skill. But again, if we're only ever focusing on one thing, familiarity, then we're missing out on the whole other half. It'd be like just inhaling. We need both. We need to inhale and exhale. We need familiarity and we need unknown. I don't remember where I was going with that, but there is a little bit of some tension between Mercury and the moon. So that is your emotional body and your feeling, or your emotional body and your communication body. And that's just another energetic imprint that's unique to this little chunk of time, this little date in the calendar. New truth will probably come to light in some way, shape, or form, activating our emotions and maybe helping us to understand something or someone from a new point of view. Intuitive feelings can be confirmed during this window. We can find ourselves shocked with news. Some of the planets are like Uranus is right involved with the full moon, and Uranus always brings like unpredictable, erratic. So this window may bring some information that's shocking to us, or it may bring some news that's kind of shocking to us. Now the moon, I've said before, I'll say it again, I'm sure, the moon governs our emotions, and Mercury rules communication. So while all of our emotions are kind of heightened from the new moon, all of our emotions are heightened from this impending sense of something is changing, something is shifting, and I don't like that. I want to seek the familiar. I want to stay with what I know and what is comfortable. We can lash out. We can be rude. We can be abrupt. We can be abrasive because everything is just sensitive. Everything is heightened. So it's really important to practice discipline in the face of reactionary urges. So if we lean into the power of the pause between a certain stimulus and a certain reaction, then we have power. We have power to shape how that conversation goes. If we do take the time to pause and not just react right away, that can be so easy for us to do, especially when all of the emotions are so much bigger and forward in our awareness. It's easy to like have something happen. For example, driving has gotten so insane here. Naples is a beautiful place to live. I really love it, but like 100,000 people came down over the past 2 or 3 weeks, and that makes the roads insane. The roads are big. They're like 3 or 5 lanes, and it's like 55 miles an hour. But there's so many people on the roads, and it's a lot of elderly people who I think can't like turn their head from side to side. And there's a lot of people that just don't really think the rules apply to them, which is fine. And they'll just zigzag around traffic, and people drive like asshats. And it makes me so angry because what once took less than 20 minutes, it was 15 minutes to get to work, now takes like probably closer to 30. And so I'm on the road more. There's more drivers on the road, and people drive insane. It blows me away. There was someone going 12 miles an hour on the main road the other day when the speed limit's 55, and you could tell he was lost. I could tell he was lost. I could tell he was looking to try to see where to turn, and my first reaction, like, I was instantly angry. I was like, dude, that's fucking dangerous. It's an inconvenient. You're probably gonna get hurt. I was worried. I was angry, and I'm not always able to pull it off, but when I pause and like chill for a moment, then that anger kind of dissipates. Like, it's not as big of a deal. Like, I can witness the fact that I'm frustrated that there's so many people on the road without, like, I don't flip people off, I don't honk the horn, but yeah, it's just an illustration of how the pause between the stimulus and the reaction can be the difference between a really productive conversation. It can be the difference between like being aligned and centered, and an epic argument or an epic explosion that normally we probably wouldn't engage in. So practice discipline in the face of your reactionary urges. Practice discipline in like lashing out and saying hurtful things and using certain tones that that kind of come along with anger or frustration. And that will give you the gift of choosing whether you have a productive conversation or you have an epic argument. The way that Venus is interacting with Uranus during this window in time indicates that there will be some type of radical shift in our foundational structures, whether that's our career path or our financial status or our relationships. may even realize that we must align our values even more with ourselves and build kind of like alliances that help us to become more self-sufficient and less reliant on external things that can fall or be reborn. This relationship between Venus and Uranus brings an importance of a healthy balance between give and take. Relationships, we can start to view relationships, be it romantic, be it friendship, be it work relationships, that life is lived better as a team, and it's not as sweet, it's not as giving, it's not as considerate, it's not as compassionate when it's every person for themselves. And I think that we are here to flourish. I think we're here to thrive. I think we're here to support each other. And so there may be some shifting away from that every man for himself mentality into, well, how can we do this as a team? Like, how can we capitalize on each other's strengths and weaknesses versus like chopping each other down or sucking the life out of someone else or like a corporation or a business. Some of the Taurus themes that arise, again, just specifically Taurus, we're nudged to get back to basics. It's a really appropriate time to take stock of what resources we have as individuals and discern if there's anything left to share, if there's anything left to redistribute to other people. Taurus energy has a lot of, like, they want to provide, they want to give, they want to support. They're kind of like the foundation that all of the rest of us stand on. And so when these themes are in the sky, or when these themes are around us, or even if you don't believe that they're around us, I still think it's worth considering. Like, that's an important concept to consider. So check in with your stock, check in with your inventory, your assets, and see if there's anything that you can give and share and just redistribute it. Be that foundation that someone else can kind of lean on. With the full moon, it's fully illuminated. There are shadows at nighttime because the moon is so bright. I think I'm gonna move inside because I don't want this mower to get too loud. I hope this works. With the full moon, so like symbolically, it's illuminating everything in the sky. And then what it does for us, if you follow that kind of theme or that kind of symbolism, it will illuminate things that are deep within us, maybe like wounds. It's going to bring those kind of back up to the surface. And that illumination wants to creep all the way down into our deepest, darkest vaults, crevices, secrets, hiding spots, and it wants to expose it. It wants to illuminate it because that's what light does. It brings things to light. It banishes the dark. And if we have any of those little dark spots or shadow spots hidden, then this full moon is going to want to bring it up to the surface. Unexpected changes usually transpire during eclipses, and they all have a purpose. The purpose is to help us stay in alignment with our soul's intended path. So if anything comes up for you that is a big unexpected change, then do your best to just trust that it's a gift, it's a lesson, it's something that you needed for the ultimate greater good of you and your journey and who you are. Another astrologer I was listening to, I just took a couple notes from her little interpretation because I thought it was so interesting. She said eclipses are always kind of like a crapshoot. They can be emotional, things get changed, things get taken out, things get brought in. And it's really important for us to trust that we deserve exactly what we deserve. And she gave the example, she was staying in an Airbnb that had mold. And, she was faced with a decision. She could either suck it up and stay there because it was easier, or she could find another Airbnb, risking potentially losing the $2,000 that she had spent on the first one. And she's like, you know what? I deserve it. I'm not going to make myself sick. I'm just not going to do this. Like, my health, my well-being is too important, and I'm not going to let that slide. And so she got the other Airbnb. She did in fact get refunded. It's just a small example. This is, we deserve the best. We deserve to be taken care of, and to be nurtured. And it should be kind of like an honor. Like, this is my body. I care about it so much that I'm not going to let anything bring me down. It is a practice of faith and trust that everything will work out, versus being in a lack mindset. Well, if I do that and I lose the money, then and you're fixated on that turn of events, that cycle of events, then you're robbing yourself of what you deserve. So there's an element of having faith and trusting. Let's see. Eclipses, she says, are upgrades for our souls as individual, but also for the collective. We have to shed and process density to get all that old shit out, and then we can be open to receive more light, I think. Taurus can bring earthquakes, natural disasters, food supply stuff, body sovereignty stuff. So just watch for that over the coming days, maybe even like retroactively as well. The week can be volatile, things can change, we get wild cards, things are shifty. Whatever is happening for the highest good. So just remind yourself of that if things get a little wild. If you've been feeling wild, if you've been feeling frantic, do your best to just soften and lean into it. Lean into that pause between stimulus and reaction. Lean into trust and faith that you are being taken care of, that you are where you need to be, that everything that is happening around you and to you is a gift, is a lesson, is something that's vitally important to your development as a person. So wow, that was a lot about the eclipse. We'll move on to Saturday and Sunday, and then Monday and Tuesday. Saturday and Sunday, the sun is in Scorpio, the moon is in Gemini. So this will bring a little bit more of some speed with so many planets. With the moon in Taurus, things kind of slow down. We feel a little bit more like taking a nap, a little bit more like getting cozy, and just kind of dropping into those simple pleasures that feel really good. But when the moon moves into Gemini, we want to talk, we want to do all the things, we want to share information. We can get a little bit restless. We can have a little bit of difficulty focusing. Multitasking is going to be really interesting and appealing. This is a breezy and curious energy, but also a little bit edgy and fickle. Things are a little bit lighter and faster. We still have 6 planets in fixed signs. So even though our emotional body, our internal world has picked up a little bit of speed, it's gotten a little bit lighter, there's still kind of this general stuckness or stickiness or stubbornness where maybe it feels like we're at a 4-way stop and every spot's taken and no one knows where to go, or like whose turn it is, or maybe one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake. Like we're trying to go, but it just feels like we're being held in place by some external force. So yeah, do some social things Saturday and Sunday. Talk to your people, share information, do a little networking, unite your people around common ground topics. And just watch out with the restlessness, the difficulty focusing, the multitasking. We can make silly mistakes that require more time and energy to rectify. So keep that power of the pause theme active over the weekend, and then just enjoy the lightness of Gemini moon. Monday and Tuesday, the sun is in Sagittarius. It moves out of intense Scorpio into super fun, adventurous, joyful Sagittarius. So some of that stuckness, some of that heavy, dense, fixed energy is going to be dissipating. So we've had like 5, 6, 7 planets in fixed signs for most of this month. And so we should feel like Monday brings a breath of fresh air. Monday brings some optimism, a little bit of joy, a little bit more of a sense of adventure, and like speed. Like we're gonna have more ability to like pew 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 instead of like trudging along through muddy water. Cancer moon encourages us to reconnect with our inner nurturer. And this is just a perfect time to do that with the waning gibbous moon. Our senses are still kind of heightened from the full moon. We take in each other's energy like it's our own. And the sensitivity of Cancer especially plays that up. So Cancer and the waning gibbous, like the phase of the moon, are really interacting beautifully Monday and Tuesday. This is a time for gratitude. It's a time for serious reflection. It's a time to be thoughtful. You know, what had been working leading up to the full moon, what hadn't been working, where are you in relationship with your goals, with your intentions, how have you been doing with stuff like that? And to just be grateful for all the work that was done, for all the people that supported you in the process, whether it was something as simple as just listening or giving a hug or a sweet text message. This is a time to get a little bit more internal. The light on the moon is decreasing. And so I like to think of it as like the illumination of everything, the distractions that are outside of us should also be decreasing a little bit. The waning gibbous moon, when the moon starts to move from full down to new, like I said, it's decreasing in size. And when it is a waning gibbous, this is the perfect time to exfoliate, to detox, to dry brush, to begin to eliminate and reduce, because that's what the moon is doing. In terms of exercising and working out, this will kind of be a decline a little bit. I'm not telling you to stop your exercises or stop working out, but as the moon gets closer to new, our muscles are going to feel a little bit weaker. Our muscles are going to feel a little bit more mushy. And that's because our body is more focused on reducing, eliminating, detoxing. So we're not building what muscle. We're not like, our resources aren't going towards that in the same way that they were during the ascent to the full moon. And it's going to be descending down to new. So we can expect our muscles to be a little bit more prone to fatigue, to tiring out. And so this is a good time to shift your workouts to maybe a smaller amount of intense workout and a larger amount of stretching or more gentle yoga, more just like less intensity in your working out. And that will just, it's not like, I don't think of it as a loss, like you're missing out on gains or you know, that kind of like full throttle culture that we have. I think it's a really good way to honor the natural rhythms and the natural cycles. And if we kind of step back from that intensity, then we can do the more thoughtful reflection, the more serious reflection, the more gratitude-based focus, because we're not just like flinging ourselves at the wall all the time. Foods rich in B vitamins will help with sugar cravings, and then roasted root veggies or baked root veggies will help to flush your liver and large intestine. So detoxing during the period of the lunar cycle where it's going from full to new is going to be the most effective and efficient time to do your detoxing. So maybe do a fast, maybe go sit in a sauna and like physically purge out through sweating. Watch what you're eating. Those root veggies are going to be helpful for your liver and large intestine. And those are 2 out of your 5 organs of elimination. If your organs of elimination aren't functioning properly, how can you get rid of stuff that you don't need? How can you kind of go with that natural pattern of releasing, letting go, and detoxing? So yeah, I hope that this was useful. I hope that you enjoy it, and I hope for the best possible outcome.